Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 6, Text 53. Eshate Rudra Bhagostu Yad Uchishto Advarasya Vai Yajnaste Rudra Bhagena Kalpatam Adhya Yajnahan. O destroyer of the sacrifice, please take your portion of the sacrifice and let the sacrifice be completed by your grace. Purport: a sacrifice is a ceremony performed to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, it is stated that everyone should try to understand whether the Supreme Personality of Godhead is satisfied by his activity. In other words, the aim of our activities should be to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just as in an office, it's the duty of the worker to see that the proprietor or the master is satisfied. So everyone's duty is to see whether the Supreme Personality of Godhead is satisfied by one's activity. So we may think we are doing for Krishna only, but there may be so many other things which are also in the forefront of our mind. Whether I'm also satisfied, whether I like doing whatever I want, whether I'm getting some benefits out of it, gross or subtle. So all these things seem to be more important than whether Krishna is satisfied by our service. If that should be the focus, then we won't bother about all other, small things, which may be, there may be so many things happening around and we may get distracted by all those things. Those are not the that is happening, then all these temporary things, we should not give it much weightage at all. Somebody said something to me, or they didn't appreciate my work, or they bossed over me, they dominated me. What does it all matter? If you did your service and Krishna is satisfied, that's it. So here also we see, actually the purpose of that sacrifice was to see this, please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Daksha also, because of his anarthas, he was not focused on that. He was thinking of his own false ego and about Lord Shiva. He wanted to spite him and put him down. These are all the things which were more important running in his mind, that he forgot, why am I doing this sacrifice? I have to do the sacrifice for the pleasure of Vishnu. In that case, he would have actually respected Shiva, because he knows that Vishnu will not be fully happy if you don't satisfy his very dear devotee. And that is one thing. And then, of course, Shiva's people, they retaliated. They had to, because Sati was killed. I mean, she immolated herself and they had to take revenge on that. But Lord Shiva, he is this, here we can see how is really an exalted Vaishnava, because they are appealing to that aspect of him. Because please take your portion of the sacrifice and let the sacrifice be completed by your grace. O destroyer of the sacrifice. They know that Shiva, he is, I mean, of course, he was, I mean, he also must have been okay with the sacrifice being destroyed, because he was so unhappy with Sati's demise. But at the same time, Brahma could easily come and appeal to him. I mean, it seems very unreasonable that anybody else would have agreed to it. Only Lord Shiva, because he knows he's perfect Vaishnava, who's only doing everything for satisfaction of Krishna. And imagine, in spite of all these things which have taken place, Shiva is so magnanimous. He came and he restored Daksha, and then he made sure that the yajna also happened. Just imagine, that is the focus we should have. We forget all, all superficial things or extra things take our occupation in our mind. That seems to be like, all these, like Daksha. And that can happen only when we understand, we are very focused that what do I want to achieve by doing devotional service. Actually, the purpose of doing devotional service is simply that one day I'll be qualified to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to achieve Him. That is our goal. But many times that's not our focus. We think that we have to do service well so that, I can tell everyone that, see, I'm also very good. I'm very smart or whatever. I also did something. And so then what happens? Everyone is trying to guard their territory and feel jealous also about others who are doing well. Whenever we feel competitive like that, we should understand that what's the purpose of my doing devotional service? Is it to show that I am the smartest in doing this service? I'm the best, I'm the greatest. Is that the aim? Or is it simply to satisfy? That is, what is that? 4.7.1 is 4.6.53. Hmm. Then activities to satisfy the supreme Godhead are prescribed in the Vedic literature, and execution of such activities is called yajna. In other words, acting on behalf of the Supreme Lord is called yajna. One should know very well that any activity besides yajna is the cause of material bondage. That is explained in the Bhagavad Gita 3.9. Yajnartat karmanonyatra loko yam karma bandhana. Karma bandhana means that if we do not work for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, then the reaction of our work will bind us. One should not work for his own sense gratification. Everyone should work for the satisfaction of God. That is called yajna. So these brahmanas there were not perfect in their understanding why they are doing the yajna. It requires a lot of purification to be focused on the spiritual and not get, you know, distracted by all temporary, unwanted things. What is the purpose of that yajna? To satisfy the Lord. But we are distracted by so many other temporary things, which then the purpose of the yajna is lost. So one should not, this is the yajnartat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. So it is a bandhan, because if we, during the course of our yajna, even we displease someone, or we took the results of that of yajna for ourselves, then you have to take another birth because you did karma. But gradually we have to offer everything for Krishna's pleasure. And that is when we will have no karma, akarma. And that is the purpose of doing the service. So that we come to the platform of akarma. Then what will we be concentrating on? Whatever service has been given to me, I should do it for the satisfaction of Guru and Krishna, not about anything else. Oh, what they are doing, why I'm doing this, I should be better than them. All that is material. That's all in the mode of passion. But if we want, I mean, the goal is this. That's why we should never get sidetracked to all unwanted, unnecessary issues. Have I satisfied Krishna? Am I doing things so that he is satisfied? Then it doesn't matter. You don't need any certificate from anyone. Will be completely satisfied. I satisfied Krishna. That is it. It's between us and Krishna. And whatever happens in our lives is all orchestrated by Krishna only for us to come to this platform of purification. And the Lord is always trying to remove all these unnecessary false ego. You know, for every devotee, he does that. And as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his pastimes, as Nimai Pandit, he did a lot of these things. He pulled the leg of so many people, like Brahmanas who took themselves very seriously, very puffed up. They were sitting and standing in Ganga and chanting Gayatri and all that. And Nimai Pandit would go under the water and pull their legs or fill his mouth with water and then spit on their face or keep on touching them after their bath so that they have to keep on going and bathing. Why does he do all this? Of course, it is part of his fun. As a child, he was doing the Leela of how a child always is very naughty and mischievous. But behind every one of his actions is there's a deeper purpose. And he was just pulling the leg of all these brahmanas so that don't take yourself so seriously, become humble. And then even the scholars, the scholars in Navadvipa, the pandits, there were so many of them. And each one thought that they already know everything and they don't need to learn from anyone. And they were not doing any bhakti, but they were very proud of their scholarship. So Nimai Pandit used to go get into debates and arguments and defeat them. He was mere boy, 11-year-old, and then he's having debates with these big scholars and defeating them. So their pride was deeply wounded. But then they saw that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so sweet and very gracious. After defeating them, he was very kind. So they loved him. They didn't mind. But was his purpose, to uh, take away all their ahankar. And another funny thing was when he went to East Bengal and came back, the current Bangladesh. And there were some East Bengalis also who were settled in West Bengal even in those times. And then he would really make fun of their accent and the pronunciation and their language, which was a little different. The Bengali spoken in East Bengal is different from West Bengal. And West Bengal may be the original Bengali, I don't know. They are also very snooty about the way they talk and all that. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made so much fun. He himself is also from East Bengal only. His grandfather and all that are from East Bengal. But he made such fun of their accents and this and that. So those East Bengalis got so upset, they would get very angry. Then they would say, where are you from? As if you're not from Srihatta. He didn't take it seriously. He was just making fun and having everyone else enjoying. One got so angry, one guy started chasing Nimai Pandit, but he couldn't catch him. Nimai Pandit was faster than him. Then they all went and took him, pulled him, and took him to the magistrate, Muslim magistrate, and lodged a complaint against him for. Imagine, he was just teasing them about the accent and pronunciation. What's the big deal? Either you laugh it off or you also make some joke or fun. But they was they this is they got so angry. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu purposely did like that. The more they got angry, the more he teased them. So this is how the Lord deals with his devotees, right? Sometimes he knows exactly what is our weakness, and there only he will keep on teasing us, keep on rubbing salt until we realize, okay, Krishna, I'm your das. I will not act like a boss now. So here also, that is yajna. We are all the time he's teaching us, don't be proud and don't be doing things for your own gratification. Do it as yajna for the pleasure of the Lord. And that will give complete spiritual satisfaction for Krishna, first of all, for everyone and ourselves. Only when we are not attached to the results, simply do the service and leave all, and so much peaceful. All the tension happens when we are meditating on the result. And that is why we are attached to the result. It should happen like this only. Otherwise, I'll be so upset. Who told you all that? There's no need to worry. The result belongs to Krishna. Whatever he gives, we accept very happily. Thank you, Krishna. I hope you are happy with whatever I did. That's all. And then everybody will be happy. Everybody. And it hardly matters who did better than others, what happened while doing this, and all unnecessary thought processes completely coming from the factory of our mind. All that is gone. No more. We'll be free from all those anxieties, problems, tears, anger, useless sentiments. A waste of time. And we spend rest of the time talking about those things. You know what they did, you know what they said, and how they behaved. What does it matter? The whole thing is, it's all gone. It's so temporary. and it just agitates the minds and keeps us away from worshipping Krishna, thinking about him. So that is why he is here. Um, After the yajna was performed by Daksha, all the demigods expected prasada, the remnant of foods offered to Vishnu. Lord Shiva is one of the demigods. So naturally, he also expected his share of the prasada from the yajna. But Daksha, out of his envy of Lord Shiva, neither invited Shiva to participate in the yajna nor gave him his share after the offering. But after the destruction of the yajna arena by the followers of Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma pacified him and assured him that he would get his share of prasada. Thus, he was requested to rectify whatever the destruction was caused by his followers. Of course, Brahma is very dispassionate because he didn't even come there to the yajna. He thought all this is going to happen, let's not go. He didn't go. Vishnu also didn't come because they didn't want to get involved in all these kind of things, which is the purpose of yajna is lost. And but now, because the demigods went to Brahma, he is coming to settle the issue. In Bhagavad Gita 3.11, in Bhagavad Gita 3.11, it is said that all the demigods are satisfied when one performs yajna. Because the demigods expect prasada from yajnas, yajna must be performed. Those who engage in sense gratificatory
They're all nice clothes. Can I pick out one?
Those who engage in sense gratificatory materialistic activities must um, must perform yajna, otherwise they'll be implicated. Thus, Daksha, being the father of mankind, was performing yajna, and Lord Shiva expected his share. But since Shiva was not invited, there was trouble. By the mediation of Lord Brahma, however, everything was settled satisfactorily. The performance of yajna is a very difficult task because all the demigods must be invited to participate in the yajna. In this Kali Yuga, it's not possible to perform such costly sacrifices, nor is it possible to invite the demigods to participate. Therefore, in this age, it is recommended Yagne Sankirtana Prayir Yajantihi Sumedasaha. Bhagavatam 11.5.32. Those who are intelligent should know. Oh, um, um, that in the Kali Yuga, there is no possibility of performing the Vedic sacrifices. But unless one pleases the demigods, there will be no regulated seasonal activities or rainfall. Everything is controlled by the demigods. Under the circumstances, in this age, in order to keep the balance of social peace and prosperity, all intelligent men should execute the performance of Sankirtana Yajna by chanting the holy names Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. One should invite people, chant Hare Krishna, and then distribute prasada. This yajna will satisfy all the demigods, and thus there'll be peace and prosperity in the world. Another difficulty in performing the Vedic rituals is that if one fails to satisfy even one demigod out of the many hundreds of thousands of demigods, just as Daksha failed to satisfy Lord Shiva, there will be disaster. But in this age, the performance of sacrifice has been simplified. One can chant Hare Krishna, and by pleasing Krishna, one can satisfy all the demigods automatically. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the fourth canto, sixth chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Brahma Satisfies Lord Shiva. So this is the amazing thing which has been given only for us in the Kali Yuga, that you think of satisfying Krishna and everyone else is rewarded because of that. What to speak of your family members and other, whoever is important to you here, even the devatas are satisfied. Everybody is satisfied. Everybody is taken care of. If we chant, there'll be peace and prosperity for everyone. That is the amazing thing. And so, that is why doing Hare Krishna mantra, Sankirtan, by chanting the holy names, inviting people, and distributing prasadam. Either we do it individually in the home, or we come together and do that, invite people and do Sankirtan, and we distribute prasada for everyone. And that will make everything peaceful and prosperous. Everybody will benefit, including ourselves, including all the people who have attended, including the people who didn't attend also, because the vibrations are being put out, they will also be purified. That is the amazing thing. Without anybody's knowledge, we can do so much good. Nobody need know even, because if you then people might object. Some people may say, why you're doing all this? Yeah, if you do yajnas, for example, some people may become envious. Oh, why they are doing costly yajnas? Or they may find fault, including the devatas also. They may feel they didn't invite me properly and so on. But Hare Krishna mantra, we just do to Krishna. Everybody is, benefited by that without much effort, including ourselves, and we can feel extremely happy and be a source of good. Because if we do, everything is controlled by Krishna. Whatever has to happen, he will do it wonderfully. If we try to control things, it just becomes, you know, when we think we are the doers, we are very smart, we will only decide what to do. We make all kinds of mistakes. Sometimes we are successful, then we become very proud about it, and then we make some mistakes again. So, but if you just leave it to Krishna, Krishna, you be satisfied. You want me to chant Hare Krishna? No, I'll only think of you, chant Hare Krishna, distribute prasada, not worried about anything else. Oh, they came, they didn't come. Like whatever, they didn't appreciate, or why didn't they come? If they didn't come, that is their misfortune, but we can call them again. But we don't get angry with people. Imagine, I had a Sankirtan program, I invited them so much and they didn't come. Then we become angry, and then become it becomes a social event. Oh, they didn't come, so I won't go. Or just giving an example of how it doesn't matter at all. We just do yajna for the satisfaction. So Shiva was like that. He didn't mind. Okay, Daksha didn't call me, so what? Nothing. He is always satisfying Krishna. He's not at all disturbed. Whether you invite me or not, so what? Hardly matters. For Daksha, all these things were very important, because he was not in that consciousness. He was still materially attached. But Shiva, it didn't matter at all. So that is what we need to do. That level of understanding why I'm doing. We have to be very conscious of why I'm doing everything. When we are not thinking and simply do mechanically, then our mind will take over and tell us all kinds of unnecessary, unwanted things, which will deviate us from the main purpose, which is to surrender to Krishna, become a devotee, and go back home. And life is very short. We don't know how long is left for us. And also, there are so many things to be done that we don't have time to waste. Chapter 7. The sacrifice performed by Daksha. Text 1. Maitre uvacha iti ajena bhavena paritushyata abhyadai mahabahu prahasya shruyatam iti. The sage Maitreya said, O mighty armed Vidura, Lord Shiva, being thus pacified by the words of Lord Brahma, spoke as follows in answer to Lord Brahma's request. So we see Lord Shiva, Ashutosh, is already pacified. That's it. Brahma spoke some sweet words, glorified him, and told him that please, now you take your share and then bless. You will allow the yajna to continue. And Shiva was satisfied, pacified. And it is Very significant. Maitreya is saying, oh, mighty armed Vidura. He was more a Brahmana, actually, mighty armed, but he belongs to the Kuru clan. There must be some reason why he's calling him mighty armed Vidura. He is mighty because of being in the Kuru clan, Kuru dynasty, but he never fought any wars. Maybe because of his character. That's why he had so much strength. That
Is
Maitreya.
that Mataji because he has all time he was forgiving Duryodhana and all, even though they were doing wrong, and then every time he was forgiving them and telling them the right instructions.
And that's
Plus
what, because of his character as a Brahmana. He is more a Brahmana than a Kshatriya. So because of that, he must be calling him, because he's a Kshatriya by birth. I mean, is a, okay, mother was this thing, but anyway, he's also Vyasdev is his father. Actually, all of them have got Vyasadev blood in them. Still, I mean, like even Dhritarashtra and all that. So only he was really like Vyasdeva. Yeah, so that's why he calls him mighty armed. Mahadeva uvacha nagam prajesha bhalanam varnaye nanuchintaye devamaya vibhutanam dandastatra dhritomaya. Lord Shiva said, my dear father Brahma, I do not mind the offenses created by the demigods, because these demigods are childish and less intelligent. I do not take serious view of their offenses, and I punish them only in order to right them. There are two types of punishment. One is that which a conqueror imposes on an enemy, and the other is like that a father imposes on his son. There is a gulf of difference between these two kinds of punishment. Lord Shiva is by nature a Vaishnava, a great devotee, and his name in this connection is Ashutosha. He is always satisfied, and therefore he did not become angry as if he were an enemy. He is not inimical to any living entity. Rather, he always wishes the welfare of all. Whenever he chastises a person, it is just like a father's punishment of his son. Lord Shiva is like a father because he never takes seriously any offense by any living entity, especially the demigods. So very inspiring for us how the consciousness of a devotee should be. That first of all, he told Brahma, okay, I don't mind. I don't mind the offenses created by the demigods, because these demigods are childish and less intelligent. I do not take a serious view of their offenses. That's why he was not at all affected. And I punish them only in order to right them. So he is really Devunka Dev. He is very concerned about, their progress. And so he wants to and say that whatever stand they took was not correct. First of all, supporting Daksha. Why should they support Daksha? They should have all stood up to him and said, no, we will support Shiva. Because why? Because Shiva is, externally, he is not political person. He is just sitting and meditating. He will not get into all these sense gratificatory things and all, positions, power and all that. Whereas Daksha, he is in charge of that. Prajapati Daksha, he is in charge. So they want to please him so that their positions are all this thing, in order, whatever they do, because Daksha is higher, he's got a higher position than the Devatas. So it was just in consideration of that. Otherwise, if they were not materially attached like that, what would they have taken a stand? No, Daksha, please don't insult Lord Shiva, and they also wouldn't have come. like Brahma and Vishnu kept away, they also should have protested and said, no, Lord Shiva, why are you saying that he should not be given? How can we accept when you cannot give it to Shiva? How can we accept without Lord Shiva? That's how they should have protested. But each one wanted his own power position. So they just, this thing. So he knows that they are very childish. They don't know what's correct and what is wrong. So, like a father, he didn't take their offenses, right, this thing seriously, but he punished them all the way, all the same, so that they will be corrected because their behavior was very bad. They, when it's mentioned, no, okay, later, yeah, it was already mentioned when the, what's his name, Bhairava, he put flour in the mouth of Pusha and all that because he showed his teeth. He broke the teeth of Pusha, I think. And Brigumuni, what did he do? He put, I don't know, something, Brigumuni's teeth only, a mustache.
Mustache mentioned.
A mustache he removed. So, like this, that is nothing actually compared to the seriousness of the offense. Prajapatir dagda shishnu bhavatab ajamukta mukam shira mitrasya chakshu se ksheta bhagam swam barhisho bhagha. Lord Shiva continued, since the head of Daksha has already been burnt to ashes, he will have the head of a goat. If the head had not been, the person who chopped off his head, one of the associates of Lord Shiva, he put it into the into the fire purposely so that there will be no chance of reviving. If the head had been intact, for Shiva, it would have taken seconds. Just put the head, attach it to his body, and again he would have revived. But for Ganesha's, in Ganesha's case also, when his head was chopped off, I think the time taken was too long or something. So he said, why his head was also destroyed? I don't know what happened. So he said, no, we have to attach another head. So then they went in search of an elephant's head. No, if any, whoever's head had been recently cut, fresh, that if you bring, he said, I can join it. So they saw one elephant which had just died recently, and they quickly brought that head and they connected with Ganesha. But I don't know for Ganesha, why his head, what happened to his head? Does anyone know why they did not?
The wrong direction.
Huh?
Sleeping in the wrong direction.
No. Shiva only chopped off his head. So when the time, because Devi came and she really protested and she showed her this thing, then that time he could have taken Ganesha's head only and put it back.
Already gone.
So anyway, that's why he had to get elephant's thing. So Shiva can easily do that. And here also, he said that because the head is burnt, we have to put the head of a goat. The demigod known as Bhaga will be able to see his share of sacrifice through the eyes of Mitra. His eyes were removed. So he said that, okay, through Mitra's eyes he can see. Pusha tu yajamanasya dadvirjakshatu pishtabhuk deva prakrita sarvanga yema ucheshanam dadu. The demigod Pusha will be able to chew only through the teeth of his disciples. And if alone, he'll have to satisfy himself by eating dough made from chickpea flour. But the demigods who have agreed to give me my share of sacrifice will recover from all their injuries. So maybe Pusha was still envious and inimical to Lord Shiva. So he only gave him, okay, what to say? The demigod Pusha became dependent on his disciples for chewing. Otherwise, he was allowed to swallow only dough made of chickpea flour, that is besan. kata. Thus his punishment continued. He could not use his teeth for eating, since he had laughed at Lord Shiva, deriding him by showing his teeth. In other words, it was not appropriate for him to have teeth, for he had used them against Lord Shiva. Very envious, such a great personality as Shiva. Why should he? There was no need for him to deride him. So he needed to be punished a little longer to come to his senses. Bahubhyam ashvino pushno hastabhyam krita bahava bhavantva advarayavas chanye bastashmashrur bhrugur bhavet. Thus, those who have had their arms cut off will have to work with the arms of Ashwini Kumara, and those whose hands were cut off will have to do, those who had their arms cut off will have to work with the arms of Ashwini Kumara, and those whose hands were cut off will have to do their with the hands of Pusha. I don't know why this repetition. Okay. The priest will also have to act in that manner. As for Bhrigu, he will have the beard from the goat's head. So that is why probably they call a goatee or something, maybe that you know, beard, because he had a goat's beard. So the origin of all that is now Bhrigu Muni. He had the beard of a goat from the goat's head. Bhrigu Muni, a great supporter of Daksha, was awarded the beard of the goat's head, which was substituted for the head of Daksha. It appears from the exchange of Daksha's head that the modern scientific theory that the brain substance is the cause of all intelligent work is not valid. The brain substance of Daksha and that of the goat are different, but Daksha still acted like himself, even though his head was replaced by that of a goat. So this is the proof. What is intelligence? The scientists don't know where from intelligence comes. They think it's the brain chemicals which is doing. How can just chemicals and something, neurons, this, that, how can that generate such complicated intelligence? Intelligence is many faceted, but just these, how can some nerves and some chemicals create intelligence? So it is actually, Krishna says, I am intelligent in man. So he is only giving all the intelligence to the soul, either spiritual intelligence, material intelligence, both are given by the Paramatma. So that's why it didn't matter. Goat head also, his brain was working. The brain substance is only an instrument which has nothing to do with the real intelligence. It's like hardware and software. Software is coming from Paramatma. Hardware, okay, we have a brain. The real intelligence, mind, and consciousness are part of the particular individual soul. It will be found in the verses ahead that after Daksha's head was replaced by the goat's head, he was as intelligent as he had previously been. He prayed very nicely to satisfy Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu, which is not possible for a goat to do. Therefore, it's definitely concluded that the brain substance is not the center of intelligence. It is the consciousness of a particular soul that works intelligently. The whole movement of Krishna consciousness is to purify the consciousness. It doesn't matter what kind of brain one has, because if he simply transfers his consciousness from matter to Krishna, his life becomes successful. It is confirmed by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita that anyone who takes up the Krishna consciousness achieves the highest perfection of life, regardless of whatever abominable condition of life he may have fallen into. Specifically, anyone in Krishna consciousness goes back to Godhead, back to home on leaving his present material body. So this is enough proof for, first of all, for us to tell parents about their children. They're saying, let them study, don't take them for Krishna consciousness. It is consciousness which is giving intelligence. And so by taking up Krishna consciousness, their consciousness is going to advance. And because of that, they're going to become smarter, more intelligent. They can give them the example of this. See, the intelligence is not coming from the brain substance. That is only hardware. It is all coming from Paramatma. See, Daksha got a goat's head and he was quite normal. He was the same as before. This is the proof that what you think intelligence is so that is what it's very, very so even material intelligence also. That is why nowadays, because more and more people you can see that the quality of their even education, okay, they are able to mug up a lot, and maybe they get a lot of technological knowledge, and they're able to do, in one sense, they're also, maybe they're all souls who are advanced in their, I mean, with good consciousness. But at the same time, we can see that those whose consciousness is going down, their characters, their habits and everything, then their performance also reduces. So, but if they become Krishna conscious, then naturally they'll become very, very creative also, not simply doing the standard things, which is what Indian education so far has been, just making everyone study by heart and reproduce and just do standard things. But to become even creative and, very, what you call, create new things, come up with big solutions, then we can do amazing things, inventions. Not many inventions happening in India. Maybe now it's little improved. Some people are also, because they go abroad and study and come, because it's not encouraged in our country. Not the same people only, the same Indians. You put them there, then they perform very nicely. They come up with so many inventions and all that. Whereas in India, because I don't know, the system of education for Vedas, it was okay, because the knowledge itself is so purifying that by learning Vedas by heart, then they also became spiritually, more, conscious. And so they're very, very intelligent by reading Vedas and all that. But the same thing, if you apply it simply, I'll memorize and, technical knowledge, you just repeat it, then your creative aspect, you're not getting purified. And maybe that's the reason Indians are not so creative. But nowadays, of course, it's changing. A lot of impetus is given. And hopefully now the education minister will come up with lot many things, the whole system, because if you have this, the main thing is this: creativity comes from Krishna, intelligence is coming from Krishna. I wish the parents think of that and not think, oh, what is the use of sending them to Krishna consciousness? Waste of time. Instead, I'll make them study more and learn more things so that they learn more. This is their mentality. Maitreya uvacha tada sarvani bhutani shrutva midustamoditam paritushtamavistadhata sadhu sadhva iti atabruvan. The great sage Maitreya said, my dear Vidura, all the personalities present were very much satisfied in heart and soul upon hearing the words of Lord Shiva, who is the best among the Benedictors. So imagine, they were satisfied. They were satisfied because some of them had to eat only through other people's mouths. Some could see only from other people's disciples' eyes. Still, they were satisfied. In this verse, Lord Shiva is described as Vidushtama, the best of the Benedictors. Is also known as Ashutusha, which Midushtama, Midushtama, and Ashutosha, which indicates that he is very quickly satisfied, very quickly angered also. It is said in Bhagavad Gita that less intelligent persons go to the demigods for material benedictions. In this connection, people generally go to Lord Shiva, and because he is always quickly satisfied and gives benedictions to his devotees without consideration, he is called Midushtama, or the best of the benedictors. Materialistic persons are always anxious to get material profit, but they're not serious about spiritual profit. Sometimes, of course, it so happens that Lord Shiva becomes the best benedictor in spiritual life. It is said that once a poor Brahmana worshipped Lord Shiva for a benediction, and Lord Shiva advised the devotee to go see Sanatan Goswami. The devotee went to Sanatan Goswami and informed him that Lord Shiva had advised him to seek out the best benediction from him, that is, from Sanatana. Sanatana had a touchstone with him, which he kept with the garbage. On the request of the poor Brahmana, Sanatana Goswami gave him the touchstone, and the Brahmana was very happy to have it. He now could get as much gold as he desired simply by touching the touchstone to iron. But after he left Sanatana, he thought, if a touchstone is the best benediction, why has Sanatana Goswami kept it with the garbage? He therefore returned and asked Sanatana Goswami, Sir, if this is the best benediction, why did you keep it with the garbage? Sanatana Goswami then informed him, actually, this is not the best benediction, but are you prepared to take the best benediction from me? The Brahmana said, yes, sir. Lord Shiva sent me to you for the best benediction. Then Sanatana Goswami asked him to throw the touchstone in the water nearby and then come back. The poor Brahmana did so. And when he returned, Sanatana Goswami initiated him with the Hare Krishna mantra. Thus, by the benediction of Lord Shiva, the Brahmana got the association of the best devotee of Lord Krishna and was thus initiated in the Mahamantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So mostly people go to Shiva for material benediction, so he easily gives it. Okay, take whatever because he is very pleased easily. But also, if people desire it, then he is also acts like a spiritual master and elevates them by either himself preaching or he sends them to the best devotees so that they can be initiated in the Hare Krishna mantra. So Shiva, because he spoke from the heart, and he really, what he said was best for each person. They were all not purified yet, so they had to go through some suffering in order to get purified. So Shiva just gave some stopgap thing so that they'll not be completely deprived of eating, seeing, and all that. And then Bhrigu Muni, I don't know why he was attached to the mustache, so he was given a goat's mustache. So, but whatever he did, they were all very satisfied. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, ma'am. Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Please accept my
Mataji, you are saying that Bhrigu Muni has a mustache of a goat.
Yes. Goat. No, that time. Afterwards, it must have been rectified. Just for a short time, he gave that benediction because he was very close to Daksha. He was a big follower of Daksha. So Daksha got a goat head. From that goat's head, they removed the mustache and put it for Bhrigu Muni.
Okay. Just because he's a follower, that's the reason, Mataji.
Yeah, he was a big supporter of Daksha.
Okay. Okay, Mataji.
Mataji, in this context, like Vidura, Maitraji told to Vidura, like, "O mighty armed Vidura." I'm just thinking like that Niti Shastra also says, "Shamai Virasya Bhushanam." So Veer, like brave person's jewelry is forgiveness. So probably in that context, also Almighty armed Vidura is coming, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. It's because of that only. Yeah, of his spiritual qualities only. That is what Vidura is known for. So, yeah.
And I think he forgave all the time this like Duryodhan multiple times he did insulting, but like and then one time in the assembly he did so much wrong with him, so much of insult. So he gave up his Dhanush tir, and then he was going out of the assembly, and he was thinking like, oh,
Mm.
I did so much good with these people, and all time I was insulted. But then again he fixed his mind in Krishna, and he was very happy because he thought he did his duty, and these people are all childish and all. So that made him very happy. That's what the realization I read in Bhagavatam actually, what Vidura was mentioning about it.
Yeah. Vidura all the time, he was insulted many times because he was considered Sut Putra. Sorry, not Sut Putra, Dasi Putra. And so, in the functions and all that which they used to celebrate in the festivities, in the Kuru, this thing, he was not invited. He was kept outside only. So, like that, so many things he had to undergo, but it didn't affect him. But finally, when Duryodhana insulted him so badly, he purposely insulted him because he was angry with him for speaking against, giving him good advice. And that is what he couldn't tolerate. And anyway, Vidura thought, okay, he surrendered. See, it is painful if somebody purposely harms you and all that. But a pure devotee immediately takes shelter of Krishna and thinks that there must be some reason. Let me see what will be the best. In that case, he thought, okay, let me go to all pilgrimage pilgrim places. Because anyway, he didn't want to take part in the war. That would have been very difficult for him, to take sides. He didn't want to support Duryodhana anyway, because he is the only one who spoke against Duryodhana's bad action. Everybody else kept quiet, na? And they also fought for Duryodhana and they paid the price. They were all killed. On the other hand, Vidura always spoke against, he was not against Duryodhana, but he was against what the wrong he was doing. And he also corrected him as a well wisher. But because of that, he had to pay the price. But he didn't care. He thought, okay, let me go on a pilgrimage. I'll see the Lord. I'll just this thing. So he actually benefited. He met with Maitreya and got all so much knowledge and he became wise. But again, he came back and finally he also told Dhritarashtra to leave the house and go and think of his salvation. So that way, very, very selfless person. Even though Dhritarashtra was not listening to him most of the time, especially not with regard to Duryodhana, he was blind to him. Still, he was very compassionate. And Dhritarashtra didn't stop Duryodhana when Duryodhana was insulting him, but still, he was only thinking of his welfare. That is why a devotee is considered very great because he is above the three modes of material nature. If we are thinking about the Supreme Lord and how to serve him, a devotee will acquire all these good qualities because he'll be inspired always by Krishna, and Krishna is always beyond the three modes. He's only thinking of how to love and serve and take care of people, no matter what. How many, even the people who abuse the Lord, Krishna maintains them, takes care of them. And as Paramatma sees if they are interested, then to guide them. He's always there to help everyone. So in the same way, a devotee also acquires these characteristics because of not being affected by all those things.
Thank you, Mataji.
Okay, we'll go for prayers now. Mhm. Okay. We pray for His Holiness Jayapataka Swami.
So Mataji, I'm not recording today. Somebody can stop recording. I joined late, so
Vinod Prabhu, can you just stop it? So. We pray for zonal
Mataji, I
checkup.
lost my host, co-host.
Oh,
You could
okay.
stop
I
it.
will not do it. Okay.